Hey everybody, it's Cassidy, and today I'm going to talk about how important it is to me that you earn things for yourself rather than let everybody just hand things to you. And I'll be giving my speech in front of two of my little sisters. Alright. I was raised where if I wanted something done, I'd most likely have to do it myself, especially if I wanted it done like to my standards. I learned to really appreciate this, and I'm very grateful for everything that I have and everything that everyone does for me. But sometimes it's just really nice to do things for yourself. It gives you some kind of self-accomplishment. The past 2 years have been very stressful and very tough for me. I've learned how to sacrifice, I've learned how to prioritize, and I've definitely learned time management and money management. I began my college career at Georgia Southern University, and I loved it. I got to experience the typical freshman year. I lived on campus. We had a food court. We went to football games. We joined clubs. We were on our own, and we were learning how to be self-sufficient. And it was one of the best/worst years of my life just because of how stressful that it can be. I became friends with a lot of the cheerleaders. We practiced together, or they convinced me to practice with them and convinced me to try out for cheerleading the next year, and I just thought that things were going really well. It really didn't hit me of how much of an adjustment that it was, moving an hour and a half away from home and just not having my parents there with me to almost give me daily reminders of little things that you forget because you've usually always had someone there to do it for you. So it was very tough, very stressful, but I learned how to manage. Long story short, I ended up having to come home after my freshman year because of money. I never imagined how expensive college is. I'll just put it at that. College is very expensive, but it was a really hard thing for me to handle because I have to come back home. I couldn't do cheerleading, and I would just be back. It's just very hard to go from moving away to coming back and being under your parents' watch and everybody else's watch. You're just not on your own anymore, and you lose that sense of independence. I was very resentful towards my parents for the first few months back just because I didn't know how to handle what had just happened. I got another job, so all summer long I worked 2 jobs 24/7. You hardly ever even saw me at home. And when the fall came around, I enrolled at Georgia Military and started my sophomore year. I had figured out exactly how many classes, which classes, everything like that I needed to take to be able to transfer back to Georgia Southern in the fall, and I was just dead set on that happening. And it is just so hard to pretend to enjoy something when you know that you hate it. I tried so hard to act like I liked living at home and I liked going to Georgia Military. Nothing against the school, but it was just going from being one place to being another. It was very hard for me to adjust. I didn't like living at home, and no part of me wanted to be here. So it was very hard for me to find anything to enjoy. I was a full-time student, and I worked a ridiculous amount just to be able to try and save as much money as I could. I was really just wearing myself out, honestly. And another setback for me was my family. Just going from living by yourself to being back with your family, you realize the little things that you had whenever you were gone, like having to study places other than your home because your little sisters are being ridiculously loud, or we have a family get together at the house and I have an exam, or not getting home from work until 1 o'clock in the morning and having to wake up the next day at 7 to be at class. So my days were very long and stressful. And also money. I was under the impression that my parents would pay for my schooling while I was at home because that's what I was told. But this slowly showed untrue because I ended up having to pay for it, and it just left me with a lot more responsibility than I had anticipated. So it was just one thing after the other. I felt like just the world was out to get me, pretty much. But as this quarter comes to a close, I look back at the beginning of this year and see how far I've come and how much I've overcome. And I have learned so many things, like being responsible and appreciating the things that I can do for myself, like paying for my education on my own. To me, it's going to mean so much more when I graduate that I have pretty much put myself through school, because I've paid for it and it is mine. It is something that someone can't take away from me. So it's a very big sense of accomplishment. And I've also learned how to value things. Sure, it may be nice to have people it would honestly just be the easier way out if people were to just hand you money or hand you things and tell you to just go with it, because it would be so much less work for you and easier and less stressful. But sometimes those stressful and difficult situations are what make us a better person and make us appreciate everything that we have and just shape us to be able to do more with our lives. And I hope that my speech has been able to motivate everyone who watches it to be more self-sufficient and rely less on things that you can get from other people. Because really, in the long run, it may really just suck at first, but it has really helped me grow and become a better person, because I've been able to just provide for myself, and that's some kind of feeling that no one can give you but yourself. And also, I'm so glad that I got to know each one of y'all over this quarter, and I wish you the best in your academic future and just your lives. Thank you so much.